Perfect. We are recording. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for jumping on the webinar with us. I'm Swanny Evans. I'm the Manager of Partnerships for the Council to Advance Hunting and the Shooting Sports. We're back for another webinar today. I know everybody's excited that I'm wearing my camo tie. I've gotten a lot of compliments already. I bought it slightly before COVID kicked in, and I really haven't gotten a chance to wear it yet. So I think this is going to be my dedicated webinar tie from now on. A little bit of housekeeping before we kick it off and turn it over to some more interesting people than myself. This is being recorded. It's going to be available, like all of our webinars are, on our YouTube channel, as well as the R3 community. We'll have some resources in those descriptions for you as well. We're going to share those in the chat today. Speaking of the chat, we've got about 30 or 40 minutes of content for you. And we're going to have plenty of time for questions as well. You're going to see a Q&A box at the bottom, as well as a chat box. So the Q&A box is for questions for the presenters. Put them in there whenever you think of them. We're going to hit them at the end. We'll try to get to all of them. I encourage you to ask any and all questions that you have. The chat box is to chat amongst yourselves. It is not for questions for the presenters. It's for talking about what's on Hank Forrester's Instagram, or, just discussing the weather. Whatever you want to talk about in there, we can make it happen. But keep your questions for the presenters in the Q&A box so I see them and we get to them. All right, with that out of the way, I'm excited for the topic we have teed up for everybody today. I'm sure everybody's familiar with onX. They've been extremely involved in R3 in the past, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do in the future as well. I know they've been a great partner to us, and they have some great content to discuss with us today. So without further ado, we're going to be hearing from Kevin Vaughn, the National Key Accounts Manager for onX, as well as Mark Helveston, the National Government Accounts Manager for onX. And then we've got Jenifer Wisniewski from Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Michael Bergin on today as well from Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation. So I'm going to turn it over to them and let them take it away. Kevin?
Perfect. Let's get the screen sharing going. So there's some visual aid paired along. Is everything looking correct so far? Presentation's on there?
Looking good.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks for the introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Kevin Vine, and I am the National Key Accounts Manager at onX Maps, and we have Mark Helveston on my team as well. Today, we're going to discuss a marketing strategy that we've had success with that helps in the R3 efforts with an emphasis on retention. So as most of you know, hunting license sales saw a nice bump in 2020, which is great news. However, it's been speculated that much of this bump might coincide with an overall increase in just outdoor recreation during the ongoing pandemic. So if this is the case, it's imperative that we all try to find ways to retain these new hunters. It's our hope that the efforts outlined in this presentation, when executed, will help achieve this goal. But prior to starting, I just want to give a big shout out to Swanny Evans and Samantha Petter for giving us the opportunity to speak with you all today. We really appreciate it. So let's jump in. Let's see if it'll switch slides for me. Perfect. So to start, if you're not familiar with onX, the way I describe it is we are a pioneer in outdoor digital navigation based in Montana. We have two offices, one in Bozeman, Montana, and one in Missoula. The onX team is made up of more than 200 outdoor enthusiasts, and our mission is to awaken the adventure in everyone. We do this by developing navigational software that millions of outdoor enthusiasts rely on to plan, experience, and relive their adventures. As a company, just something, we have our key tenets on the screen right now that highlight our main philosophy that we operate under. But a few other key points to mention is we do invest strongly in land access initiatives to expand and protect open spaces. And we believe that the more people who experience their own off the beaten path awakening, the more likely they are to join us in protecting these spaces for the future. So we got our start in 2009 as a resource for hunters to easily see public land boundaries while out in the field or planning their next hunt. And over the years, we've worked on a variety of different projects to drive access and enables hunters to get out. The links we had mentioned will highlight a few of these efforts, so you can learn more by clicking on the links included in the chat. and in the recorded webinar description as well. So that's us. And here's a quick overview of what we actually make. On this slide here is kind of highlighting the main key features that set us apart from everyone else, what keeps the customers coming and using the product. And I'll highlight our 3 different products we currently offer, but these features are universal across all platforms. But to start, innovation and problem solving is what started onX, and it's still at our core. It has driven our company to be bar none the most used and trusted hunting application in the United States. We are continually adding new features and improving upon features that set us apart. So of course, the private and public land boundaries is probably our most known feature. You can quickly see where public land is. We color code it, and then all of the private land information, you can identify the private landowner's name, their address, and their taxable address too. So if you are asking for permission to hunt, it is super beneficial to know who to ask for and who to talk to. And to keep that current, we do have a team of highly skilled GIS analysts constantly working to obtain and update our maps so our users have the most up-to-date information at their fingertips. Another extremely beneficial feature is our offline map feature. This allows you to use your phone regardless of service and still use the map like you are. All you do is you download wherever you're going to be to the phone prior to going out in the field. That information stays on the phone, and the GPS in your phone will still find you even without cell service. So as long as you've downloaded it before, your map works just like you're in service regardless of where you go. And that sets us apart from a lot of the similar applications as well. And then the other feature is it's cross-platform functional, so it can be used on smartphones, tablets, and computers. So if you are out in the field and you mark a waypoint of a point of interest, or you record a track, like leave a breadcrumb trail of where you've been, all that data automatically syncs across your devices. So when you go back on your computer to review your hunt or any other waypoints, those are automatically on there. And then vice versa, if you're planning out where you're going to go on your computer, marking waypoints, marking up an area, that then automatically transfers back to your phone out in the field as well. So here are our 3 products we currently offer. Again, with the whole innovation side, it's driven us to expand to new verticals of outdoor recreation in order to give more outdoor enthusiasts the tools they need to plan, navigate, and explore. So from left to right, probably the most familiar to least, onX Hunt, of course. It's trusted by millions of hunters across the country and contains the largest database of hunting data available on the market. onX Off-Road just launched a year ago, and as of now, it has the most comprehensive off-roading data set in the country. Off-roaders are loving it for highlighting key trails that they can ride. It'll give difficulty ratings and really kind of guidebook quality content before you go, and then to relive, you can mark waypoints, any points of interest, and all of that as well. And then our 3rd product just launched right at the end of last year. Onyx Backcountry, focused on just general backcountry navigation and backcountry skiing. And we anticipate this to be one of the most used apps in its spaces. To kind of fuel that, we just published it, but we had just recently acquired all of the adventure projects. And part of that is to fuel our Onyx Backcountry experience. It's going to enable us to provide guidebook quality content to our customers. And all of that information, including descriptions, difficulty ratings, elevation profiles, and more, is going to be integrated into the app quickly over the coming months. But today is our 3, and our main focus is on hunting. So we want to call out just some of the key features again of onX Hunt. For those that are not familiar, and kind of highlight some of the new features that have come out too that are useful to not only field personnel, but just customers in general and hunters. So to kind of spell it out, one of the largest hurdles new hunters face is not knowing where to go. So if a new hunter was unsuccessful because they could not find a place to hunt, they might be reluctant to purchase a hunting license again. Luckily, the features in onX Hunt help solve this and many other problems hunters face. So the bullet points right there are kind of the key features. And one of the best is the easy to view map layers. They clearly show you private property boundaries, government lands, hunting districts, restricted areas, and areas of possible access. And that's just a few of the many map layers. We even have some live layers, like I think it says on bullet point 3, wildfires. That's actually a data set acquired from Cal Fire, I believe, that's updated every 24 hours for any ongoing or active fire. It'll show you the boundary, the acres burned, if it's active or inactive. And then that feeds into a different layer of historic wildfires that'll show you a year-by-year breakdown of where fires had happened, the acres burned, the entire area that was reached. Of course, hunters love that for the new foliage that pops up, the same for mushroom hunters as well. But the overarching feature is that just our maps make it easier for hunters to plan, navigate, and stay legal. One of the new cool features that we've added, you'll see in the screenshot at the top right, is wind and weather. You can navigate anywhere on the map, even if you're not actually at that location, to see what the weather is and what the 7-day forecast is. And then we're still, I think, just exiting beta of it, but we launched 3D mapping capabilities that allows our users to get a much better view of the terrain that they're in, or if they're researching, it actually pivots online so you can see a 3D view before you go out. But how this is important to R3. What it comes down to is hunters using onX are more likely not to trespass, harvest illegal game, or get lost. onX users are more likely to explore new areas to hunt, which can help in the disbursement of hunters across the state. Overall, just hunters who plan their hunts using onX are more likely to be successful, is what it comes down to. And successful hunters are more likely to continue hunting and mentor new hunters. Also, the bottom right point of the game wardens, we obviously see game wardens. It's an indispensable resource in the management of wildlife in our public lands. And we are proud to say that over 5,000 of them currently use onX to aid in their everyday work. Just worth mentioning, if there are any field personnel that aren't equipped, that do want to get set up, I'd recommend reaching out to Mark. At any point, his contact information will be at the end of this, but we do have discounted government rate for field staff to get them set up if that's of any interest as well. But the reason of the presentation today is to highlight the partnership programs we've created to enable us to work with state agencies and to drive hunter growth and retention. So we've, as Swanny mentioned, we've been involved in the R3 initiative for some time now, and we've developed some easy to run programs to support R3. They've been tested in a few state agencies so far, and we've seen great results. So we want to kind of spell out a few examples of how it worked and just kind of paint a better picture of what that looked like. So if you guys do want to run it in your state or any variant, you at least have a basic understanding of what is possible. So the one I'd want to highlight right now is our affiliate campaign. We have others, but this one is extremely easy to run, and we already have data on the impact it's already had. So our affiliate campaign is a great way to reach hunters who might benefit from just having onX in your state. It gives you the ability to reach out to your customer base or your email list, thank them for their support, and reward them with a special offer. It can be another great way to engage the hunters in your state, letting them know you care and you want to drive their success, and that purchasing this awesome tool will directly support your agency. It's, again, customizable. You can offer an extended trial to the product or a discount or a combination of both. But the best part is onX will actually donate a percentage of all the proceeds gained from this partnership back to the organization or the charity of your choice. So it kind of hits on two aspects of thanking, and if they do purchase, it does support the state agency as well. So to give an example of what that looked like, on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see what we did with Tennessee that was sent out to the hunters in their state. But they've proven to be successful in the initial launches. We've ran with Tennessee and with Oklahoma. But because these campaigns are so easy to put together, it's easy to run multiple campaigns throughout the year. This is just one example, but there's multiple variants that we'll go over that it's not just one size fits all. It's whatever makes the most sense for your state. But we strongly believe that getting this great resource in hunters' hands, especially new ones, will help in retention efforts by enabling them to be successful. So, as I had mentioned, we ran the initial test of this program with Tennessee and Oklahoma last year and had some great results. So we've got Jenifer Wisniewski of the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency and Michael Bergin of the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation here to talk more about how the program worked for them, the results they saw, any hurdles you need to overcome or anything, and provide additional insight on how you can provide something similar to your state. So I'll start off by just kicking it over to Jenifer. If you want to just let everyone know what it looked like to get up and running, if there was any best practices you learned or just what came of it.
Sure. So we've been partnering with onX for 2.5 years doing these types of things now. So it's not our first dog and pony show, so to speak. And our first, the email that you saw there was the first thing that we sent out. And, not only were we able to make a kickback is not the right word for it because it doesn't sound right, but a shared profit from the person subscribing to onX, and that money come to our agency. We were able to use it as an actual thank you gift. So it's something that we love to give people that have purchased a license, the carrot, the thing that keeps them thinking of our agency in a positive note. Oh, look, TWRA is giving me a great discount on onX. And the only hurdle I would say we had to overcome is how we take the funding from onX. So we funneled that money through our Tennessee Wildlife Resources Foundation. So I know a lot of states have foundations or their 501c3 arms, but you could work with the NWTF or whoever you wanted to work in your state with, to your state wildlife federation. You could work with many different outlets to take those dollars and make them go towards R3 or wherever you want those dollars to be focused. In Tennessee, those dollars all go to the foundation and they're earmarked to be used for R3 programming. But I mean, we've seen huge successes with some of the things that we've done. We use onX for our Refer a Friend program. We do just things that we'd like to send thank yous out with. We send it out with newsletters. At the footer of a newsletter, we'll have a, hey, don't forget before turkey season to renew your subscription to onX so you know where you are, and they've got new features this year and all of that wonderful stuff. We've done it in a survey. So we sent out in fall, we sent out a survey to people that were first-time hunters that were purchased a license online for the first time and were super long-term lapse, so like more than 5 years lapse. So to those three groups, we sent out a survey, and part of that survey was a thank you, and here's a discount code for onX Maps. So onX are great guys to work with, and they will work with you to come up with a specific thing. And when I think about how long it took for me and Kevin to talk through what we were going to do this year, I think we spent one phone call for about 10 minutes, and he gave me the promo codes and he shipped over the graphics for me to use, and that was the end of it. So I mean, it's a super simple, really easy campaign that any state can do. And yeah, I would strongly encourage anybody that would want to do this. And I would also add that I'm not excluding anybody else. I know that there's a lot of times legal people think that we're favoring onX over, I don't know, I'm sure there's another hunting map app out there or some other similar technology. Oh, they hadn't asked me to do this. So there's no competition in my mind, and our legal department has been okay with that.
Awesome. Yeah. And yeah, I think we spent the majority of that phone call, like kind of stepping back, like, wait, we already got it figured out. Oh, okay. We're ready to go.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, that was my favorite part as well. Well, thank you so much. That helps a ton. Yeah, I just want to kick over to Michael then too. We did a kind of different variant of the campaign. If you could just spell out what that looked like, and yeah, any other insight you have.
Yeah, sure. So, our project with onX, it ran through the fall of 2020. It was very straightforward and simple. We basically sent the savings offer to our entire hunting community database. We tried to cast a very wide net. It was to anyone who had organically signed up to receive information about hunting in Oklahoma, as well as people who had come onto our email list from having bought a hunting license. So we had a pretty wide net there. And we sent 3 exclusive emails, outlining this offer. We did one in October, November, and December. And it basically was presented as a thank you and a reminder that, a hunter's role in conservation is critical. And for that, we want to just show our appreciation and give you this offer. Our partners at onX want to kind of give you this delight, like Kevin mentioned. And we did that. But then in addition to that, we sent I guess you could say we used it in the footer of several other emails that went out to the hunting community. That might have been, for example, an email about the opening day of deer gun season, for example. And as they're scrolling through that email at the bottom, they could see that same offer. And then we also, like Jenifer, we sent it in a survey to what we call kind of a cohort of people that came on board during the pandemic. And so, yeah, it was a great success. Kind of a best practice there, I think, is definitely working with Kevin to cast that wide net, getting as many people in our hunting community to see it as we could, I think paid off. And then doing it frequently. Our emails generally have a open rate of around 25 or 26%. And so, kind of doing that drip tactic where you send it several times and help ensure that people do see it, and in different ways, because some people may not open their email about deer gun season, but they might open their email about archery season. And so, putting it in a variety of emails and topics, casting the wide net. And then we also, in the footer of our email, we included links to help people find their account with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife. And so we also, through those emails, managed to sell some other merchandise and licenses. Like I said, some people were receiving that email even though they were lapsed. And so it kind of worked together to help us, to help onX, get in front of more people and help people kind of see their role in conservation as a hunter, and thanking them for that, but also just reminding them that if they haven't bought in a while, it's time to. So anyway, and then the other thing I would say is making sure everyone in your agency who has a stake in it knows the offer is going out. We did that, and it was helpful because people on our field staff and whatnot could have conversations with people they were talking to who might have seen the offer. So anyway, it was a very valuable deal. I love the fact that agencies are partnering more now with industry, and I think we need to. We rely on each other, and what we do affects each other. So it was a great project for us, and I look forward to doing more.
Awesome. Yeah, and the big takeaway is it's a win for everyone, which I love. We obviously get more customers using the product, but part of that gets donated back to the state, and the hunters in the state are more educated, less likely to trespass, and of course be more successful. And then of course the end user, the hunter, is having a better experience. They get a special offer. The relationship with the state agency ends up more improved. And then I hadn't even considered, until Michael had mentioned, the email open rate increase is another cool little added benefit that we weren't even anticipating. Of once people see it, they would start to wonder on the next email what's going to be in there, or the little reminder. It just kind of helps spin the flywheel a little bit. So thank you guys. We really appreciate that.
And I would add one little vignette story that just happened to me this past week. So a mom that is new to hunting on public land decided that she was going to go try it this year. And so she and her family took out to go scouting on a WMA, and they used onX, and they'd never done this type of thing before, but they were able to, with the onX tool, she and her kids, and she was teaching their kids what to look for, and she was pretty much scouting the place out so that she could go back there later alone and go deer hunting. But it's kind of like, wow, these are the types of tools that we need to be giving to our hunters to empower them, so that they feel like they can go out and not get lost, and take their kids along with them and feel secure and safe in the woods. So I think the product's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And just that peace of mind. Honestly, before coming to onX, I had never hunted. And so I can definitely speak to, like, when I had friends mention, just for my own anecdote, I would always just be concerned, like that kind of nagging feeling of, am I doing this right? Am I legal? What are the repercussions if I'm not? So I'm sure I'm not alone for a lot of new hunters. They go through hunter's ed and then are like, great, now what? So just kind of getting that in their hands shows them, oh, okay, as long as I follow this. And it's worth mentioning that these relationships with the state agencies, I'm sure we actually, someone in our company probably has worked with someone in your state agency just across the board, because we try to work as close to possible to the original source for the data sets whenever possible, like for hunt districts or WMAs or anything. So as long as we can keep that relationship tight, all the information we know is exactly what you want to present to hunters. And it just kind of helps, again, spin that a positive experience for everyone going forward. So just to reiterate and just kind of drive it home of the affiliate campaign of what actually is entailed to make it happen. It's just super easy. And it's, again, an easy way to engage your customers. It requires very little work. All that's required is just assembling an email distribution list. So I know Jenifer and Michael had talked about different audience or cohorts. So whatever kind of group you'd want to send this thank you to, you would then just draft the email similar to the example we provided before and send to the audience as you see fit. We will provide the discount codes, a trackable link that actually links back to a dashboard we provide, so you can see real time how it performs every time the link is clicked. And every time someone actually purchases, it'll show the amount of money accumulated that will be donated back from that campaign. We'll even provide templates for multiple emails if you want, imagery, and yeah, really whatever to make it as easy as possible. And then keep in mind, it can be repeated multiple times throughout the year or just whenever it makes sense. For example, you could do one for hunters who just put in for a big game drawing, and then another one for everyone who purchased a hunting license last year. It really doesn't matter. The point is we're just happy to cater to whatever your needs, understanding these efforts are to help in the retention of hunters. So really, however to make that happen, we're totally flexible and adaptable to that.
This might be a good idea of how flexible it is. So currently for our refer a friend program, if you refer a friend through a code to purchase a license in our system, one of the gifts that you and the friend get is a 40% discount off of onX maps. So that goes on daily. So those triggered messages are getting sent out every time somebody refers a friend. And so, you know, it can be very year round. It could be very much, we're going to do this one shot, one time. It could be, we've partnered with Alabama last year to do a lapsed campaign. So we emailed everybody that was lapsed going into hunting season and said, hey, renew in these 2 weeks and we'll give you a discount at onX. And, you know, we were able to, you know, really drive revenue with that. So there's several different ways that you can really use these as a win-win-win situation, like Kevin was saying.
Exactly. Yep. Well, that's actually all I have on kind of an overview of it. I just wanted to leave while we go into Q&A, Mark's information. So we want to open up for questions. Again, Mark's information is on there. Also linked in the webinar invite is a Google form you can fill out if you want to get in contact with us for more information. Just please don't hesitate to reach out if you're interested in learning more or have any questions that we don't cover today. Or if you just want to work on one of these partnership campaigns, reach out. We'll definitely, again, it's so easy to get started and adaptable that it would not take much effort on either side. But we are extremely excited again for the opportunity to help in the retention of hunters in this influx we saw in 2020 and keep driving new hunter growth. So thanks again for everyone who attended and everyone on the panelist group for your time today. And I guess we'll kick it over to any questions, and we have plenty of time to cover really anything.
So we've got a few questions, and I have a few of my own too that I jotted down here. So we'll circle around. Just to reiterate, I dropped that Google form link in the chat just a few moments ago, and that's so you can reach out to Mark to get more information in there. One thing I wanted to hit on, you know, so I was formerly the R3 manager in Georgia, and we worked on a lot of programs like Field to Fork, and we always provided onX as an incentive and kind of an added value to these participants. It was a free code. I may have taken a few of those codes myself, you know, and used them over the years, but that's irrelevant. So the cool thing is we have a lot of anecdotal stories from that. I've heard anecdotal stories, you know, mentioned here today. But I've also heard, Michael say that it was a great success, and I've heard Jenifer talking about driving revenue. Can we dive down into that a little bit further and talk about, maybe we don't have to do specific numbers, but maybe some of those exact metrics that we saw that did increase, such as those open rates and everything along those lines? Just a quick rundown, a review for everybody.
Sure. Revenue is my favorite thing to talk about. So it was a little less than $10,000 that we got off of the people that subscribed, that we got some money from onX that went to our foundation. As far as the licensed traffic that we drove, or the one that we used to actually drive business, which was the partnership with Alabama. So Alabama and I paired together to email all of our lapsed folks going into hunting season, encouraging them to, I think it was like the second week of October. So like they missed the big opener. And so we wanted to follow up with those people that had lapsed and missed the season opener. So could we offer them an incentive, and would they take it? And they did. And we made $311,000 off direct license sales from click-throughs. And since we used the whole database for Alabama and the whole database for Tennessee, Alabama was able to get 1,400 people to buy a license in Alabama that had never bought a license in Alabama before from the Tennessee list. I didn't get any, vice versa.
That's still pretty cool, though. That's an excellent example of how states can work together. Jenifer, I know you've presented on that before, and that's a really interesting project that you worked on. Michael, do you have anything that you could share?
Sure. We did our effort for just a couple months there, and we tried to cast a pretty wide net. And I think that there was some not quite 700 people that signed up to get onX, and I think that equated to a donation from onX to us in the ballpark of around $3,300, I think, and it was a combination of different products that they bought. I think there was two that were offered at a 20% discount, and then those emails, the three that we did, also drove an additional $6,000 or $7,000 into our system from licenses and merchandise that people bought. And then in addition to that, I don't have the exact number on me, but from October through December, when we would include those in all of those regular emails, those emails were all big drivers of revenue into our system. And when I was telling you, Swanny, about that the other day, when we were talking about open rates and increasing those, we had made a larger effort, and we had said earlier in the year that we're going to make a concerted effort to increase our open rates. And we were going to do that through, hopefully more meaningful content, as well as little bits of gold that people could find when they open the email that they might not have seen historically if they would just get an email with a single topic. And we started including more topics in our emails. And when I say topics, it would involve someone scrolling and interacting with our website more. And then at the bottom of those emails, we would put offers such as the onX savings, or we had a refer a friend effort going with Academy. So in total, these things all work together. It's just a theory at this point, but our open rates did shoot up significantly when we started doing that. And I have to believe that some of that is that, when people, not only were we doing a better job at isolating and emailing the people we wanted to, targeting hunting content to hunters, but in addition to that, I think we're doing more and more to hide either good reading or good offers like this, little things that let our hunters know we appreciate them. And so that's more anecdotal, but definitely you could see the open rate increase. I think prior to this effort, where we started doing things like this, our open rates were, I think, closer to 12 to 15%. And so this was just part of that effort, but I think it played a helpful role there for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. So we're going to, Mark and Kevin, unless y'all have anything else, I think we're going to start diving into some of the questions here.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. We're going to start off with Tanya from Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. So Tanya wants to know, for public-private land boundaries, their state and tribal agencies want to know who the regional contacts would be to keep property boundaries updated. They're constantly changing public land leases, and they want to make sure that they're able to keep that information up to date. Is there a direct contact for individual regions, or how do they source that information?
So we have a dedicated GIS team that I believe, Mark, do you know what the contact email address is, or who the right direct contact is, or what the right flow is?
Well, you can always go through me and I can direct it to Landon, who works in our GIS department. And then what they do is they create a ticket and that gets submitted, and then the errors get reported and fixed. So I'd be happy to take those on. I do all the time, and then make sure they go to the right people at Onyx.
Okay, perfect. So Tanya, you heard that, and Mark's email is still right on the screen there. So feel free to reach out to him if you ever need help or direction on that front. All right. Jeff Rollinson, who we all know and love, asked if public and private shooting ranges can be accessed through the maps to help hunters/shooters locate and utilize those resources.
I can confidently say yes. Yeah, any of that. I'm pretty sure it's across the country. If it's not in a specific state and the data is available that you know of, same thing. Shoot Mark an email and let us know where we can get it, and we can integrate it into there. But I am 99% sure every single one is currently.
Yeah, most of them are in there. If you see some that aren't, just let me know and I'll get them added on.
Okay, great, Jeff. Hopefully that wrapped up your question there. All right. Bill Joplin is asking, are the wildlife management units for each state plotted on the maps and identified?
Yes. If I could always share some screenshots or so, but let me see if the first screen showed. We have kind of a legend for the maps, and hunt units or WMAs or any of those boundaries have kind of a light green background or border around them. Like you'll see here, it'll give the district number showing on this side and then this side, and then it would look very similar for those boundaries as well. And if you zoom out, it'll show you the entire area of where that boundary starts and stops.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm always amazed how much data y'all manage to make that happen.
No, and I am blown away. Like I just touched on like the Adventure Project acquisition, but like the amount of data they actually have that will be useful, not only just to backcountry, but for just outdoor recreation and hunters in general. It's staggering. It is, I think, the largest database in the country of like guidebook content. So a lot more cool data is actually being added every day too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we used to teach new hunters how to use the tax maps to identify the land boundaries and everything. Of course, you know, that's where y'all pull a lot from, but it's so easy to just funnel them to onX now. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from people that have come through, you know, learn to hunt type programs and gotten onX as part of that. They've been able to gain access to private property as well, because you have the landowner information on there. They find 5 acres that's next to their neighborhood that they want to bow hunt, and they're able to reach out. So it's pretty interesting. On that note, before I dive into a couple more of these questions, one thing that I did want y'all to hit on is, you know, we're talking about state agencies a lot here. Of course, we have a lot of NGO nonprofit partners on the call. Can you talk a little bit about how you've partnered with them? Just a brief overview, because we want to make sure that NGOs know that you know there are partnerships available, that y'all want to work with everybody on this.
That is a great point. Yeah, it's actually a similar idea. There's multiple ways we can do it, but the intent is you can leverage the usefulness of our product to your audience to drive whatever initiative you're looking to do. If it's to drive your own memberships or donations, we actually had a partnership, I think, going out very soon, if not now, between Federal Ammunition and NWTF. Federal does a promotion where you can donate your rebate back to NWTF, and to help drive that, instead of getting a rebate directly in cash to yourself, you can then donate that to NWTF. We jumped in, and to further incentivize them, anyone that does do take the rebate to apply it as a donation, they get, I think, 2 free months of onX as a gift, or like to incentivize that option. So it's all up to like there's no limit to the creativity of how we can apply it, but it comes down to just, we can leverage the value of the product in any way to drive. If it's, there's a higher membership tier that you're looking to increase, or just, yeah, membership dollars in general. It can be, your entry level, regular cost. Your next level include, if you subscribe, you get 6 free months of onX, or 20% off onX, or whatever, to kind of incentivize what makes sense. We've had some partners that just do it to sign up for our newsletter and get a special offer kind of thing. So it's a very similar style of campaigns we can do with NGOs and nonprofits. But again, it's just up to whatever specific initiatives you guys have or wanting to really try to drive or increase, that we can tailor it to apply and drive those.
Also, if you have ideas on how you would like to work with us that we didn't review today, we're happy to talk about that and, get something going. We're always open to new ideas.
Awesome. All right, we're going to jump back into the questions here. Let's see, we've got Rick Jacobson from Connecticut. This is a long one, so bear with me while I read through it here. Rick is saying that they're in the throes of building a new R3 app for providing e-licensing, harvest reporting, regulations, hunter certification, and everything else. They would like to integrate in some fashion a tool like onX into that app. So Rick is wondering, would onX be willing to work with Connecticut to build a seamless plugin within the app, wherein those who buy a subscription, their access to onX app could be seamlessly accessed through their own R3 app? Is that something y'all have considered before?
Anything is possible. Yeah. I mean, my mind, and something I always end up going down, is I quickly jump into the logistics of how that happens. But if I take a step back, I would absolutely love to see that happen. That seems like a win for, again, the end user most of all, but for both parties too. So I'd love to have the discussion and see what is feasible. Yeah, with that end goal, even if it's, we like to err on the side of a crawl, walk, run mindset of, when we start the conversation, is there anything we can do right away? And we can identify what that looks like, even if it's, the end goal is to have the two products integrate. If there's an easy way to kind of start that and familiarize both customer bases with what that looks like, we can start there and then work toward that perfect end state of full integration down the road as things progress. But we'd have to chat about what's possible, but we absolutely would be interested.
So is that something Rick should reach out to y'all to further discuss once they get rolling with it?
Yeah, I think we kept the Google form pretty vague, just because we are open to really any way we can work together to drive hunter growth, or just any initiative. And my team specifically, our big focus is on the value of partnerships and just how to grow those more and establish some really awesome relationships in the industry. So yeah, you can either fill out that form or just shoot Mark an email, and we can all get on the phone and just start brainstorming.
Great. Awesome. All right, our next one is Aaron Hirschberger here. So Aaron's wondering, is there a way to turn off certain entities on public ownership layer by request to avoid access confusion for users?
Oh, so if there is like a specific type of public land that we'd want to disable, in the app itself, you can turn the entire government land layer on or off. But if it does come down to, like, if there is something either mislabeled or there ends up being people thinking it's public land when it's not, absolutely shoot, again, Mark an email, or even fill out the form and just let us know. We can get to the right team to reevaluate if it's just a naming issue, if that's causing the confusion, or they are almost on a weekly basis always reviewing how to make the experience more seamless and more understandable. So if it is something that, like, it is public land that they are legally allowed to access, great. If it's not, but it's still technically public land, but they're not open to hunting, that's something we should look to revise. So yeah, we have multiple ways to work through on the back end. In the app itself, it's just, you can turn all public lands on or off currently.
Okay. Aaron, hopefully that did it for you. It can get a little confusing in there, but there's some situations where it's very difficult to manage it on a large scale, obviously. I really like this question. This might line up well with something that y'all just released. Dave wants to know if you could speak to the applicability to non-shooter and ecotourism in state and local county parks with this app.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, as you mentioned, we have the two other products we offer. There's onX Off-Road for backcountry off-roading, just either overlanding or 4x4 or anything in between. But for your specific question, Onyx Backcountry sounds way more in line with what you're describing. Its main focus is to help you navigate anywhere off pavement and be able to know what that experience is going to be like. So for national parks, part of that adventure project acquisition, they actually had about 6 different project companies underneath them, including like the hiking project, the mountain biking project, the powder project, and the national park project. And part of that is a lot of rich content that has awesome imagery, descriptions, difficulty ratings, and then elevation profiles and all the kind of pertinent information you want to know before you go to like a national park or a specific trail or anything. And all of that is going to be ingested into the Backcountry app. So you can look at it on the map, say, oh, this place looks interesting, tap it and learn everything you'd want to know, and then plan out from start to end what that would look like. And then bring it with you when you're out there so you don't get lost if there's a specific path you want to take, or just relive it. So you can mark a waypoint and tie a picture to it, say, oh, remember this waterfall we saw, or wherever it, it helps them kind of take the experience back home with their friends and family too. So I think that would be a really useful option for the non-hunters in the state that, again, it just launched, but it's kind of in the same mindset of what we're talking about for hunt. Is definitely something we can do. I guess, yeah, to further drive that point home, same for onX Off-Road. If there's like OHV license opportunities in your state that you'd want to incentivize, that onX Off-Road can actually end up being a cool tool to incentivize that option. And then, yeah, backcountry, wherever it makes sense and like that user base would be applicable or a valuable ad to present to them, 100% we'd love to do it.
Perfect. Yeah, I've been using onX Hunt for years for my hiking and even whitewater kayaking adventures. So it's pretty cool that y'all have launched something specifically in that line. All right. It looks like people have gotten tired of us. They've stopped asking questions here. So do y'all have any final thoughts you want to hit on? We've got a couple of minutes left and we can go ahead and wrap it up and shut her down.
I don't. I really thought those were great questions and brought up some good points to highlight. And no, I just want to reiterate again, even if if there's something completely unrelated you'd like to discuss with us too, if it's something in the product, or we just want to have an open kind of relationship with the state agencies, because I mean, it's crucial to keeping the hunter success in the state and having our product as current and up to date as possible. So even if it's not working on a partnership and just something like some of the questions asked of updating a specific data set, don't hesitate to reach out. But again, if there is something you see that you'd want to do together, even if it wasn't covered, just let us know and we can definitely hop on a call and just figure something out. But no, I can't think of anything else. Anything, Mark or Jenifer or Mike?
No, I just really like to thank everybody again for attending, and really, if you have questions at all, or if you're interested, please reach out to me. And I'll be happy to answer those questions and get a campaign going if you're interested. But yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of onX and working with you guys, so thank you.
We're a big fan of you. You've been a great resource and just a great partner to have. Thanks to both of you guys again for hopping on and just sharing your experiences.
Sure, thank you guys.
Awesome. Michael, Mark, Kevin, Jenifer, I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that was able to join us today, that engaged and asked questions. Hopefully this was valuable to the community, and we will have this recording up on our YouTube channel and on the R3 community with, we'll include that Google form in the description there when we post it, as well as some other onX resources. So with that, I will see everybody next month, I assume, with my camo tie once again. Hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye, Swanny.